Today we're going to be reading the story of the Frog Prince. Once upon a time, there lived a princess whose favorite toy was a golden ball. Every day she would go into the gardens of her father's palace and play with her golden ball. And every day as she plays, two big frog eyes would rise up out of the water of the palace well and watch her. But the princess did not know this. Then, one day as the princess stretched out her hands to catch the ball, it slipped through her fingers across the grass and bounced and plop into the water of the deep, deep well it went. How the princess cried! Tears ran down her cheeks through her sobs. She heard a small voice say, "Don't cry, princess. If I get your ball back, what will you give me in return?" And then there, looking at her with his big, sad eyes, was a very large frog. "Oh, anything, anything," cried the princess. "Would you like jewels or gold?" "All I want," said the frog, "is to be your companion. I would like to play with you, eat with you at your table, and night to sleep in your bed." "Oh, I promise," cried the princess. And the frog immediately dived into the water of the deep, deep well, and moments later returned with the golden ball. But the princess, who secretly thought frogs were nasty, slimy creatures, snatched the ball and ran as fast as she could to the palace, leaving the poor frog all alone. That night, she sat eating her supper. There was the sound of a splish, splash, splash outside the door, and a small voice said, "Great King's daughter, open to me. Remember the promise you gave to me?" "What promise was that?" asked the king, and the princess, very ashamed of herself, told her the story of the lost ball. "Then you must keep your promise," he said. "The frog must be your companion, eat at the table with you, and sleep in your bed at night." Well, there was no escape. Much as she disliked the wet, green creature, the princess had to share her supper with the frog, and then when she went off to bed, the frog hopped along after her, very pleased with himself. But as soon as the princess was alone with him in her bedroom, where no one could see them, she picked up the frog and threw him across the room. "Do you think I'd let a thing like you sleep in my bed?" she cried. The frog laid motionless on the floor, watching her with his great sad eyes, and suddenly the princess was full of sorrow. "Oh, frog," she cried, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you." And she picked up the little creature, stroked him, and kissed his poor wet face. And what happened? Presto! The frog disappeared, and in his place stood a handsome prince. "A wicked witch turned me into the shape of a frog," he said. "Only the love of a princess could free me from the spell." Well, of course the princess was astonished and extremely pleased, and it wasn't long before she agreed to marry him and travel with him to his own land and live with him in his palace. So the frog prince's wish came true after all. He was able to be the princess's dear companion and live with her all of his life. The end.